Let's put the ideas from the last several videos into action here. Let's talk about how to make it work. Um, in order to support someone who has experienced trauma, we want to help them have a predictable uh, environment to know what's going to happen. We need to help them experience, find perspective in gentle ways. We need to help them recalibrate, not overreact, but certainly we don't want to talk about someone being or overreacting. It's hard to know what the right level is, sort of Goldilocks, right? We need to help people find space for their feelings, to calm down, to find perspective. We want to support people, give them choices, to help them make good attributions for what happened. You're calling it trauma. And we want to be able to respond with the kinds of behavior or kinds of reactions that we in turn want and need. We can do these things while also respecting our own boundaries. So, disclosing abuse is really difficult for many people. Many people fear that they're going to receive negative reactions and consequences from others and may actually blame themselves for what happened. They may not recognize that there's going to be social supports and that are going to be sensitive and positive. They don't necessarily believe that disclosing can be healing. And there may be a lot of questioning about themselves and their experiences. You know, was this really abuse? Conversely, friends and family can feel both overwhelmed and incompetent. What can I do? Right? And and yet there are things that are either positive or negative. Negative, you know, disclosures, excuse me, negative disclosures are blaming. They tend to see the person as broken. They don't access social support systems, or they may even just conclude there's nothing I can do. We can do things. We can do things and be part of the solution. Uh, frankly, trauma survivors are most likely to disclose assault to friends and family members. That's who they want to disclose to. Um, being accepted and believed by friends and family is really much more helpful than a more formal caregiver. Negative disclosures tend to have much more negative outcomes, as we have talked before. This is one of the Swedes that uh, Chanel Miller talks about, who stopped the rape, stopped her rape, and chased the rapist away. We can be a Swede and make a difference. Um, Salman Rushdie, similarly, talks about his experience following the attack at his lecture, and notes that there are two options. I mean, there are in this world people who consider murdering an old stranger for almost no reason. And yet, there were people at the same time who protected him, saved his life. As he says, we also contain the antidote to that disease: courage, selflessness, the willingness to risk oneself to help that old stranger lying in the ground. And think about how that meaning can shift the global meaning in a positive way. In, in this case, uh, the audience, you know, the audience supported Salman Rushdie. The Swedes supported Chanel Miller and negatively responded to the attackers. And both groups were able to say the attackers were wrong. Much more positive outcome. Tarana Burke's mother said, no, he didn't recognize you. The man who had raped her, molested her as a child, he didn't recognize you because you turned out to be a smart, beautiful, accomplished woman, despite him trying to take that from you. Think about how powerful that is, hearing that from your mom. And she says, for the first time in a long time, I felt like my mom actually could see me. He had not won, I had. So what can we do? We can listen sensitively. We can perceive that person's immediate needs, respond to them, and engage the person in that process, listening to that person's needs. We can learn to say no when we mean it and hear no when others say it. We can listen, believe, support. We can empower rather than seeing a person as broken. We can create a culture that's safe, respectful, encourages active listening, does not use power to win, and sees each other as people rather than objects. We can make a difference. And take care. We'll see you in the next video.